Good morning, welcome to episode 44 of my Yarny Corner. My name's Alex and I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and this is a podcast all about knitting and crochet. So welcome everybody, I hope that you're all okay and I hope that you've had a lovely crafty 2 weeks. Today is Tuesday the 15th of November. I'm actually recording this a day early than I usually do. So I usually record on Wednesdays and then I upload that episode on a Thursday morning. We need a little change around. My Wednesdays have become busy, so I can't record on a Wednesday anymore. So from this point forward, I will be recording on a Tuesday and uploading on a Wednesday morning instead. I did consider still uploading on a Thursday morning, but then I kind of lose knitting time. So I don't really. Because if I upload it on a Thursday, I'd still have... I don't know. I'm just going to upload it on a Wednesday. It's just easier. And then the video's just not sat on my phone, you see. So... Oh, thank you. Danny's just brought me a coffee. How lovely. Thank you. All right. I will leave all the information in the description box down below where you can find me, and anything that I talk about in the episode will be linked below as well. I think that is my usual spiel, I think. So I've not got a great deal to show you today. I think it's been Knitvent and I've really enjoyed Knitvent. I'll talk about my works in progress, which I have too, in a little bit. But yeah, it's been Knitvent and I think I'm turning into a more monogamous knitter. I don't mean exactly a monogamous knitter, I'll never be that. But I think a few months ago, I used to have many projects on the go. And now I just like to work on one project for the majority of the time. And maybe take a little break and just work on something else for a little bit, but not for long. So, which means that I don't have a great deal to talk about today. But I'm really sorry. There are some patterns to talk about. So first of all, there is that. Second of all, to be running a new make along. It will. Danny's just knocked my pattern over. Let me just move that 1 second.
Sorry,
All right, I'll stick it under there. Touching my patterns. I'm going to start this new make along on the 1st of January, so it's going to be a big make along. I'm not sure yet how long I'm going to run it for, so I'm hoping for some feedback from you guys to let me know your thoughts, A, on the make along, and B, how long you'd like to see it run for. The reason being for this make along is I have seen this pattern, and I'm going to need my iPad, so I'm going to need to show you it on my iPad. Wait there. So the reason for this make along is I have had this pattern in my favourites for quite some time. I want to say at least a year. And every time I look at it and think I'm going to download it, I think, actually, no, this is way beyond me. Absolutely way beyond me. But it's stuck in my head. And I still just think I really want to make it. So I had this idea that we would run a Test Your Limits make-along. And the idea of this make-along is to really just push those boundaries of either your knitting, your crochet, your sewing, your cross stitch, whatever you find difficult is what this make along is going to be for. So first of all, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be making, which is the Fireside Sweater by Amber Allison. And I do believe, if any of you have seen the film The Holiday, this is the cardigan that features in it that Cameron Diaz wears. So this is the pattern. And I just love it. Absolutely love it. But doesn't it look complicated? So that is going to be my Test Your Limits entry. So let me know your thoughts on this. Like I said, I'd like to start it in the new year. Start 2023 off with a bang and a new make along and all those fun things. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about that idea for a make along, how long you'd like to see it run, or if you think it's a bit rubbish, just say. But idea number one, that's that. So yes, we do have, let's just get on to the knitting and I'll throw everything else in as we come to it, because I've done no notes today whatsoever, which I really should have done, but I've kind of thrown myself off a little bit by filming a day early. but if I don't film today, I can't film tomorrow, then the podcast is going to be late. So I'm just going to start the podcast off and talk about what I am wearing, which is my only finished object. And it is this gorgeous, gorgeous hat, which does have, I don't know if you can see, a little bit of slouch in it. And before I take it off, I will show you the pattern. This is part of the Knitvent collection by Helen Stewart. I have talked about this collection before. It came out on the 27th of October, and I think it runs for 5 weeks. And every Thursday there will be a new pattern. So last week's pattern was, there was 2 patterns. There was this beautiful medley hat and matching mittens. All of this collection is designed to use up scraps of yarn. Obviously you don't have to use scraps, but that's the sort of designing aspect behind it. So I saw this, and I'm going to be honest, I thought, I'm not sure on that one. But my lovely friend Anne tempted me in the Discord group. So there is a Discord group for patrons, and we have a great time in there. So if you are a patron and you've not joined the Discord group, do have a look. And if you'd like to become a patron, then you can follow the link in the community posts in YouTube. There is a link there, and there is a link on the website as well. Anyway, back to this hat. So my lovely friend Anne had posted a picture of the one that she'd made. Now on this pattern, I couldn't really clearly see how beautiful this hat is. But when I saw Anne's, I fell in love with it. And she said, it's a really quick knit, Alex, just go for it. I cast this on Monday at bedtime, and I finished it yesterday afternoon. So this is my version of the medley hat. I followed more or less exactly to pattern, except for I did the rib in 3.75 needles, so I'd gone up a needle size. But it is, look at that design. I have used DK weight. You can use fingering held double, or you can use DK, and you can have it scrappy. You could make it all one size, but I really like the idea of having just this band round the middle. Now I do have a little confession to make on this hat, because this was a gift. I did not make this for me. So, full confession. The reason I chose the yarn that I did, the yarn was a gift from my lovely friend, and I wanted to use it. And I've been waiting for the perfect project. I mean, just look at that. Can you see that? Isn't it beautiful? I don't think I've shown a proper close-up. I mean, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Second of all, it's gift knitting season, and I really should be doing some gift knits. So I thought I'll make a hat for my son's girlfriend for Christmas, and I'll do it in black because she's got beautiful, beautiful long blonde hair, and I always think black against blonde hair looks so nice. But when I finished it, there was no way, absolutely no way that I could give it away. But it's okay. I've kept the bag. It's living in my lovely bag by my friend Sue. I have 2 of these bags, this size and the larger size. And I do have enough yarn. I've weighed and measured to make another one. So I'm going to start another one and make a second hat exactly the same for my son's girlfriend for Christmas. I'm hoping she'll like it. I've never knitted her anything at all. And she lived with us for a little while. She had some renovations done on her house, and she couldn't stay at the house. So this year, they both lived with us for a little while. And she always, you know, gave me such lovely comments on anything that I was knitting, but I'm not sure whether she would actually like it herself. So it's a bit of a test to see what she thinks. I was initially thinking to make her some mittens, but I just thought, a hat, everybody needs a hat for winter, and even if she only wears it if she's in the car, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I don't know whether she'll like it, but I'm going to go for it. The yarn, I only have the ball band for this yarn, but they are both from Wildflower Yarn. So this one here is called Silver Linings, and it's a DK light worsted, 100 grams, 243 metres, and it's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and that is Wildflower Yarns. I've had quite a number of skeins over the years from Wildflower Yarns, and they are always, always beautiful. The black, I think it was called Noir, and it's a little bit tonal. It's really nice. I don't know if you can see on the hat. It's not completely tonal. There are just like little spark. There you go, you can see. You see what I mean? Isn't it beautiful? So it's come out so well and it's such a good fit. So this one is mine. Covers my ears as I like. And yeah, I think it'd look really, really nice with this hat if you did like it all in a green and then just did a really pale, like rose pink for this bit. I think it'd look beautiful. So my first finished object, which I'm more than pleased about, and slight confession, I could have just not said anything, but I'd already said to the Discord group, everybody already knew that I had made it for somebody else and then kept it. That makes me sound really selfish, but I am going to make another, so that's my my only finished object this time. So before we get into the big project that I want to discuss, I'm going to show you one more thing that I've cast on, but there isn't a great deal to see about it just yet because I've not long cast it on. So it is living in this Cabin Boy Knits bag, which was also a gift from my friend Sue. She does keep me supplied in bags, she really does. Sue, you all know I mention Sue all the time. She is my lovely friend from Canada. She has the Distant Stitches podcast and she's got an Etsy shop. I'll link everything in the box below. But I cast on the Slipstravagansa by Stephen West. Now, this pattern, I've admired it for a really long time. When it was during this was a mystery shawl make along, and it was during that I was admiring it, and I was watching Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready, and they were both making it, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I loved both versions. What is that noise outside? I think it must be the bin men. Yeah, it's Tuesday, the bin men are due. And I loved both versions of theirs, and I've wanted to cast it on for so long, but having two main colour skeins I've never had. So last week I had to do my first tax return, and it was the most stressful thing I've ever had to do in my life. And the whole time I was doing it, I'm thinking, I'm going to reward myself with that West Knits pattern. I really am. Once I've done this, I'm going to reward myself with a new pattern. So I got it done and I rewarded myself with a new pattern. Now, yarn. I need some advice here because I'm not sure I've done the right thing. So I had some spare cones of undyed yarn. I had these spare because when we were doing the advent, there were a number of times that we couldn't get mini skeins, so we had to hand wind the entire mini skeins, so we had to buy cones, and it wouldn't be something we'd ever use again, so they are completely spare because it was an absolute job and a half to do that. So these are completely spare, but I really, you see, I would have preferred a darker colour, and I had seen Mandy from the Mouses Makes podcast is also knitting this shawl, and hers is beautiful, and for her main colour she's done a really dark, is it a dark grey or black? I think it's black. It's beautiful, and I would have preferred that, but I could not be bothered to hank this yarn up into a hank, then dye it, and then turn it back into a cake. I just couldn't be bothered. I thought I could just do white and knit it straight from the cone. Completely lazy. So I went through my stash and I looked at some colours that I had that would sit with this white. I have this beautiful one from Attic Spin Dye, which is just beautiful. I bought it at Yarndale and I absolutely love it, and I thought the white in it will pick up this. I had this beautiful one that Danny had dyed, and this has got orange in it and purple. You can't really, oh you can there, look. And purple, bits of white as well in there, and light blue, which I thought would match this one perfectly, which is purple and blues, and there are tiny specks of orange in it. Can you see that one there? So I thought those three would look really nice and it'd be really, really bright. Now, I can't actually get it out the bag. Just 1 second. I've got myself in a tangle. I'm still here. I have got in a tangle though. Oh. So this is it so far. And I really like these colours. But I really don't like the white. And when you look at the picture, so the main colour on this one is the red. So you can see how much white I'm going to get in it. It's going to be a lot. And I just think I'm never going to wear it with that much white on it. When I did the Winter Light shawl, that was white. Let me grab that shawl so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm out of breath now. So when I made the Winter Light shawl, I made that with white as the main colour. And this is that one. And you can see it looks beautiful. So I was kind of hoping for the same effect. Now when I'm looking at this, I think I really like the white. I think I've just talked myself into it. I actually do really like it. It doesn't look bad at all, does it? That looks really nice. And I do wear this a lot. Look how nice that looks. I think I might have just talked myself into it. I was thinking, because this was upstairs, and I was thinking that too much of the white is not going to look great, but if it looks anything like this, I'm going to be really pleased. And the Slipstravagansa has got all this. Yeah, I've just talked myself into it. I've got that caught on my necklace. It's fine. Ignore what I've just said. I do this a lot. Actually, yeah, I think the white's fine. So, okay, we've just answered that question. We're going to carry on with the white because I do really like that. Right, let me pop this back. First of all, I haven't shown you it properly, have I? That's it so far. I'm not looking forward to coming to the end of this section. I have looked at the tutorial videos and I'm just thinking, oh my God. So I've not really picked this up since I started it last week because I want to get my other project finished. Because I think this, after the next part of this section, I think it's going to be fine. But when you've done these honeycombs, it's not complicated, but there's a very fiddly section that comes up and I just think I need all concentration for that bit. So I'm going to pick it up again when I've done my next project, which I'm going to talk about now. So I'll just pop this back and all my yarns back in. Right, okay, we're done. So my only other work in progress is my Knitvent. It was window 1 on the Knitvent collection, and I actually started it the second I finished the MCAL. I think I started it on the 30th of October, which I think was the day that I finished the MCAL. So window 1 is the anthology throw. I do believe you can buy all these patterns separately. I don't think you need to buy the whole collection if you just want one of them. Now, where's my cover picture? This is it. Now, it's designed to be an advent project, so it's designed to use up 20 gram mini skeins, which would be amazing. Obviously, because I'm a child and I can't wait, I haven't used 20 gram mini skeins. I have used a few, but a lot of it has just been scraps, leftovers, any yarn that I've had lying around. So I've shown it on the vlogs, and this you can't see it properly because it's all bunched up on the needles. But oh my word, this is it. So this is the centre starting point here. Sorry, I'm having to hold my needles so my stitches don't fall off. This is the centre starting point, and then it goes out, 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 and up to here. It's, as you can see, quite big. It's on a really long cable and it's completely bunched up. I did manage to take a flat picture of it the other day. I think it was Saturday. I'll pop that on the screen here just so you can see how it's looking flat. I believe in that picture you can only sort of see up to here. So I've done that since. And I'm actually now on round 183 of 212. So I'm really close to finishing. The border actually starts at 198. So I'll be starting the border in the next few days. I'm hoping to have this finished by the weekend because it's been a lot of knitting. Now, if somebody had said to me, I know I've banged on about this on vlogs and everything else, but if somebody would have said to me that I would enjoy knitting a fingering weight blanket, I would have laughed. But this pattern is really addictive. Really, really addictive. It's got a tricky cast on and there is a tutorial for it. Me being me, I didn't even attempt the tricky cast on. I just cast on like I would for a pair of socks. Cast on the stitches and join to work in the round and then use the yarn tail to close up the hole, and I don't think you can tell. So I didn't even do the tricky cast on. But it's a very addictive project, it really is. I have just loved every second of it. I've loved changing colours, I've found it relaxing, and that could be for a couple of reasons. It could be the fact that I had just knit the MCAL and that was slightly more pressure and slightly more stress, so this was the perfect project to do after the MCAL. It could be the fact that I've had a really, really stressful couple of weeks and this has been my meditation. It could be many reasons, but it's a fantastic pattern and I cannot recommend it enough. So if you would like, you can see, a lot of it is plain knitting, but you can see here you've got these eyelet rounds thrown in. So for the most part, you can do plain knitting and then you've got to concentrate a little bit when you come to these eyelet rounds, which I loved them. I've loved doing the eyelet rounds. There are a lot of stitches on it. At the moment, there's over 500 stitches on here. And once I get to the border, you double the stitches. So it's going to become over 1,000 stitches. So at the moment, the rounds do take a little bit of time to get around. It's going to get even longer, which is why I say I don't know if I'll have it finished. I'm managing to do about 6 rounds a day on it. Some days I've managed 8, but it's not a lot. So it's taking some getting through, but I have loved every second of it. So that has just been my absolute joy over this past few weeks. It really has. And yeah, it's just brilliant. So that is all that I've been working on. That is everything. So I feel like it might be a little bit of a shorter episode. Hopefully next time I'll have more to talk about. I've been working on socks a little bit, but I'm not going to show you socks all the time because there's not a lot to see because I've lost my sock mojo, which I'm really disappointed about because you all know that I've been doing the Dear Designs Year of the Sock 2022 and I've done every single month and I've loved doing it, but I've completely lost my sock mojo. Every time I pick up a pair of socks, I may knit a round, I may knit half a round and think I don't want to work on these. So that has gone. It's totally vanished and a bit gutted about that. But it is what it is. These things happen, but I really wanted to keep up with the Year of the Sock all the way through, and I know that I'm not going to hit November, so never mind. But yeah, so I'm going to finish this. Oh, I just love it. I just absolutely love it. I'm going to finish this. It's so squishy. And then I'm going to work on the Slipstravagansa. I've got another old work in progress, not very old, just from earlier on in the year, that I might try and get out and finish over the next couple of weeks as well. I'm not going to go into it because I'm not sure I'm going to do it. So if I say it on here, I'll feel the need to do it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So that is it for all the knitting, but I do have a podcast recommendation if any of you would like a new podcast recommendation. I came across this lady yesterday or the day before, a couple of days ago, and she's called Karen, and her podcast is called the Karen Knits Podcast. I will pop that on the screen, and she's from Pennsylvania, and she's absolutely lovely. She's got quite a number of episodes out, and she's done Vlogtober, so I've been taking my way through all of Vlogtober, watching all of her previous Vlogtobers, and I've absolutely loved it. So if anybody would like a new podcast recommendation, I do recommend her. She's absolutely lovely. She's made the Stephen West MCAL, and she's very much team embrace your pace. I had to laugh because she was talking, I can't remember which episode it was, so I've watched quite a few of hers over the past few days. But it must have been the Vlogtober ones. It must have been. Yeah, of course it was, because it was the day the Stephen West MCAL came out. And she's in Pennsylvania, so she'd worked out when the MCAL would go live in her time zone. So she knew that it would go live about 10 o'clock in the morning, and she actually woke up at 3:45 in the morning. So she went to the toilet and she was sat there and she was like, can I go and turn on the iPad and check to see if the pattern's out? No, I can't do that. But I could, I'm up. No, I can't do that. So she went back to bed and then got up, turned on the iPad just to see if the pattern was out, and it was. That is so something I would do. It really is. I was laughing so much at that, I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, if you'd like a new podcast, go and check Karen out. She's lovely. And that is it. I talked about the patterns that I wanted to show. There are the medley mitts that match that hat that I showed you. If you haven't done the Knitvent, or you don't have the Knitvent collection, you can download each of the patterns individually, I believe. I think you can. I'm sure you can. Shall we check while I'm here? I'm sure you can. I'll just double check that. I can't spell anthology. Anthology, that's it. No, you can't. It's a good job I checked that, isn't it? You can't buy it separately. Maybe you can afterwards. But no, you need to order the ebook. Isn't that a good job I checked? Otherwise I've been giving you the wrong information. I'm really sorry about that. But it's a fabulous, fabulous collection. Like I say, there is 5 weeks and you get 6 patterns, because 1 week has 2 patterns. So the collection is £18. I did buy it early, so I got it at half the price. £18 for 6 patterns is nothing. And I've loved every single one. I really have. There was a cowl as well. The cowl's gorgeous. So that is that. What else was I going to say? I can't really remember. I suppose we better get into life updates, really, hadn't we? So I did mention that it's been a couple of weeks. So first of all, Danny's just at the doctor's. I don't know if you heard him go out earlier. He has got another infection in his eye. I think this is infection number 4 this year. His eye is swollen out here again, and he's got another infection. So he's at the doctor's at the moment, hopefully getting some antibiotics for that. I had to laugh because when it started yesterday, and Danny said, thank God it's not vlogs, because every time we do a vlog, Danny gets an eye infection. Every single time. He goes, I can't believe it's not vlogs now. I've got an eye infection, it's not on a vlog. So yeah, he's hopefully going to be getting some medication for that, but I really think they need to be looking into why he keeps getting these eye infections, because it's not good and it's really, really painful for him. But yeah, so he's doing that. Finlay is here today. Hi, darling. He's just sitting over there. So for all of you that have been joining along, I did tell patrons last night, and I've been talking about it with the patrons. Finlay has not settled into high school at all. He really hasn't, and the whole thing has been really, really traumatic for him. He's developed really severe panic attacks, like really quite bad ones, not little panic attacks, quite severe panic attacks, where he's having to go to the doctors. And it's made him really quite poorly. So after a lot, obviously I've taken him to the doctors. He's got referrals for everything that they can possibly do, but everything takes time, and Finlay is really not well. Mentally, he's not well now with the stress of going through this. So we made the decision last week after a meeting with school to home educate, which was something that I've been trying not to do. You all know that I've home educated Josh. That was for different reasons. Josh has autism, and it was just different reasons for Josh. But we are now home educating Finlay. I don't quite know how I feel about it yet. It's the right thing for Finlay, I know that. I haven't kind of got my head around it. Like I say, I only sort of told patrons last night, and I'd had a conversation with patrons last week. I'd done a vlog and we talked about, you know, what was going on. It's what he needs at the moment, and if that's what he needs, then that's what I'll do. I don't quite know how we're going to do this yet or what it's going to look like, but that's what he needs at this moment in time, so that is what I will do. So it's all very new. He's got this week just to, technically he doesn't deregister until Monday next week. So he's got this week just to sort of recenter himself, just calm back down and just relax a little bit this week. And then next week we'll begin our home education journey. So it has been a really, really big decision, a huge decision to make. But I think for Finlay, it's been the right one. It wasn't the learning. That was never the issue. There were some slight bullying issues, but that wasn't the main issue. It was the sheer size and volume that Finlay was unable to cope with of the school, and it was just too much. He wasn't ready. It was that simple. He was not ready. So that has been the hardest decision to make. It really has, and I have been back and forth, trying everything I possibly could for it not to be that decision. But sometimes you just have to, sometimes you've just got to do what your child needs, and that's what he needs, so that's what I will do. I've joined some home education groups. We'll be having meetups with other families that are also home educating. There's my lovely neighbour next door is thankfully a maths tutor, so she will take over Finlay's maths, not me. English I'm quite good at. I had to laugh because I was telling patrons last night and I said, English I'm quite good at, despite the predictive text on my phone saying otherwise, because every time I reply to a comment, my predictive text on my phone will change words to the most bizarre word. I replied to a comment the other day and I can't remember what I was writing, but it changed the word to iceberg. I'm like, how do you get what I was typing into iceberg? And when I type a comment as well, every time I write the word and, it changes it to AMD, A-M-D. And I don't know why it does it. I type and unless I catch it, it's always changed it to amb. And also it changes thank you into thank you every time as well. So it made me laugh. I thought, how do you get iceberg from what I was typing? So I was saying to patrons, despite what my predictive text does to me, I am quite good at English. I'm quite good at history. Obviously, we've got the crafts down. We're all right on crafts and arts and all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to see how it goes. We're just going to see what it looks like for us. Yeah. So that is that. Sorry, I'm slurping coffee here. Somebody's coming down the stairs. And yeah, we've been a little bit busy over the past few weeks. Advent has finished. While we're talking about Advent, I have said that a lot in this podcast. I'm really sorry. I'll try not to say Anyway, I was talking with patrons about Advent I think it was last week or the week before, and I'd said, I think somebody had asked if we're going to do Advent in the same way, and I'd said no. Danny really wants to do it in the same way, but I'd said no, we'll just do Advent in one go. And I was talking with patrons, and they all came up with a fantastic idea, which I think is just brilliant, and I didn't even think of it myself. So next year for Advent, we will be doing it exactly the same ways that we've done this year, except we won't send them out. So you save postage. You're not paying postage on every 3 skeins. So you can still pay monthly, starting from March, ending in October. But we won't send the Advents out until the Advent is finished. That makes it easier for us because we can dye more in one go. And it makes it easier for people just to still pay monthly and get their Advent, but they're not paying that postage. I messed up on the postage last time. I hadn't mentioned it before now. I charged £1.85 for postage, and postage actually cost me £2.85. I didn't change it. I realised my mistake quite early on. I think, well, obviously on the first month when we started the first payments in March, I realised that I charged too little for postage. So it actually cost us £2.85 each time to send it, which was really annoying. But I'll make sure. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not paying postage on each one, it makes it easier for you. You'll save another probably nearly 20 quid there. You just pay one, I think it's £4.85 for a large parcel. Rather than paying postage each month. So that is how we're going to do Advent next year. But we've been busy finishing Advent off. All of the skeins have been sent out. I did have to laugh because one of the lovely people that had bought the Advent, and I think it might have been the April one, it was a really early Advent, went missing in the post. And she contacted me and said the Advent's not arrived. And I just sent her another one out. She contacted me at the weekend and she said, I've just had an Advent delivered from you, and it was weird because I've not had a dispatch notification. She goes, and when I looked at it, it was the one that went missing in April. I was like, oh my God, it's taken all this time to turn up. So it finally got there 6 months too late. Danny's just coming. But yeah, can you believe that it turned up last weekend? I'm sure it was from April. So yeah, that's all finished. We are busy with the mystery boxes at the moment. They are so exciting. I am loving putting those together. They will be going out towards the end of November. I am so excited for these. And that has been everything, I think. There is nothing else that's really happened. It's just been a busy couple of weeks. I think there was something else I was supposed to tell you, but because I've made no notes, I can't think what that is. But yeah, it's just been a busy couple of weeks. So I've got a couple of videos planned. That one I want to put up probably next week. I don't think I'll have time this week. I want to may get one up this week and one next, or 2 next week. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to be putting a video up anyway in the next week or 2 about Advent patterns, of all the different Advent patterns that I've seen around. For those of you that have got an Advent calendar, or if you're like me and you just like scrappy socks, you don't need an Advent calendar. Not scrappy socks, scrappy projects. You don't need an Advent calendar to make an Advent project. You can make it however you want. But I'm going to do a little collection of all the patterns that I've seen, because I've seen so many nice ones, and do a rundown of all the Advent projects. And also gift knits. Before December comes, I want to do a collection of quick gift knits, and quick being the operative word, for if you're like me and you've missed out. Danny's not my pattern over again. If you're like me, you've missed out getting them done on time and you need some quick gift knits, this video is going to be for you. So they'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eye out for those. And yeah, so I am going to go now. Considering this was supposed to be a shorter episode, I have still managed to waffle on for nearly 40 minutes. So I'm going to let you all go. I will be back in 2 weeks' time for the next podcast, but there'll be videos up before then on little things that I want to talk about before Christmas. So I hope that you're all happy and having a great couple of weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye everybody.